Hey guys, welcome to our channel Nucleus. In our previous discussion, we have seen how transportation takes place in plants. Now, it's time to know how transportation takes place in human being. Like I said earlier that while moving from one place to another, we need transport. Similarly, it needs a transport in our body that helps the nutrients, gases, etc. to move from one part of the body to another part of the body. The transport in our body we are talking about is blood. Basically, in human, mechanism of transportation is carried out by circulatory system, comprises of tubes, that is the vessels, heart, which is the pumping organ, and the circulatory fluid, that is blood and lymph. Now, let us talk about what is circulatory system. A system in which fluid is transported from one part of the body to another part of the body with the help of different tubes is called circulatory system. This system is a complex network of hollow tubes called the blood vessels. Blood vessels carry blood and connect heart to all other organs of the body. Now, let us talk about the components of circulatory system. Blood is considered to be the first component of the circulatory system. Blood is the liquid connective tissue which circulates throughout the human body. It comprises of liquid components as well as the cellular components. The liquid component is known as plasma. Plasma is a colorless fluid which consists of mainly 90% water and other 10% includes protein, digested food, common salt, hormones along with waste products like carbon dioxide and urea. The cellular component comprises of red blood cell or erythrocyte, white blood cell or leukocytes and platelets or thrombocytes. RBC or red blood cells are well known as the oxygen carriers. They carry oxygen from lungs to all the cells of the body. Basically, it is the hemoglobin which is present in the RBC that helps in carrying oxygen. Due to the presence of hemoglobin, blood appears red. Hemoglobin is made up of iron part and the protein part. Mature RBC is the only cells that lacks nuclei, due to which they have shorter lifespan, you can say of 4 months or 120 days. Every day, millions of red blood cells die and more than 4 times of what has died get renewed in the bone marrow. Now, let us move into white blood cells. These are the colorless cells which are larger than RBC. They are nucleated cells and also change their shape when and where needed.
The lifespan of WBC can be 12 hours to several days.
WBC are further categorized into two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocyte WBC possess large-sized granules in its cytoplasm. They are also called polymorphonuclear leukocyte because their nucleus is irregular and are divided into 2 to 5 interconnected lobes. They are of three types, eosinophil, basophil and neutrophil. Eosinophil play an important role in immunity, allergy and hypersensitivity. Their nucleus is bilobed and non-motile. Next is basophil. Basophil cell has S-shaped or 2 to 3 lobed nucleus. It secretes heparin which functions as anticoagulant and histamine which involved in inflammation. Third comes the neutrophil. They are most active among WBCs. Their nucleus has 2 to 5 lobes. They are phagocytic in nature, that is, they engulf foreign particles and protect the body against infection. Now, agranulocyte cells. Agranulocyte cells have roughly round nucleus and unclear cytoplasm. They are divided into lymphocytes and monocytes. Lymphocytes are roughly spherical corpuscles which produce antibodies. Monocytes are the largest white blood cells. After entering the tissue fluid, the monocyte transforms into the macrophage for phagocytic function. They secrete antibodies against foreign bodies. The next cellular component is platelets. Platelets are the small-sized, non-nucleated cellular fragments commonly known as thrombocytes. These are the fragments of major cells found in the bone marrow. The main function of blood platelet is coagulation. The average lifespan of them is 5 to 9 days. Since we know the different component of blood, let us discuss about its function. The major function of blood are: blood transport digested food from small intestine to all parts of the body for storage and assimilation. Blood carries excretory materials from liver to kidney for filtration and elimination. Blood carries hormones from endocrine glands to the organs where they are needed. It helps to maintain body temperature by distributing excess heat from the organ throughout the body. It helps in regulating the pH of the tissue fluid. As we have discussed about the blood, now let us move towards the next component of circulation, that is the blood vessels. The blood vessels are the network of hollow muscular tubes that are transported throughout the body. They are mainly divided into three types: arteries, veins and capillaries. Now, arteries are thick-walled and elastic blood vessels which carry oxygenated blood away from the heart to distribute throughout the body. Aorta is the largest artery in the body. Among artery, only pulmonary artery transport deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs. The next is veins. Veins are the thin-walled, less elastic blood vessels which carry deoxygenated blood back to the heart. The blood in the veins flows smoothly at low pressure. The two vena cava, one is inferior vena cava and next one is superior vena cava, are the largest veins in the body. Among veins, only pulmonary veins carry oxygenated blood from lungs to heart. The next are capillaries. Capillaries are extremely small blood vessels that are located within the tissue of the body. The blood in the capillaries moves very slowly so that it provides time for exchange of materials. Okay, so now let us move towards the last and the most important component of the circulatory system, that is heart. Heart is the pumping organ of our body. An adult human heart is about 12 cm in length and 9 cm in breadth. Its average weight is 300 to 350 grams in the male and 250 to 300 grams in females. Heart is located between the two lungs in the thoracic cavity, covered by thin two-layered membrane called the pericardial membrane. Human heart is four-chambered heart, that is, it is divided into left and right portion and upper and lower portion. The right and left part is divided by a thin membrane called the septum. The upper part are called the atrium or auricle and the lower part is known as ventricle. So, the four chambers are right atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. The atrium or auricles open into ventricles through auriculoventricular valve or AV valves. This valve allows the blood to flow from auricle to ventricle and prevent backflow of the blood. The opening of the right auricle to right ventricle is guarded by tricuspid valve and the opening of left auricle to the left ventricle is guarded by bicuspid valve. The right side of the heart receives deoxygenated blood, whereas the left side of the heart receives oxygenated blood. pulmonary artery that carried the oxygenated blood to lungs arises from the right ventricle, and aorta arises from the left ventricle to carry oxygenated blood throughout the body. Both the arteries have semilunar valves at the point of their origin. Now, let us talk about how circulation takes place. In human being, blood flow twice to complete one complete cycle of circulation. Such type of circulation is known as double circulation. It comprises of pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. Pulmonary circulation is the movement of deoxygenated blood away from the heart towards the lungs for oxygenation. The next is systemic circulation. Systemic circulation is the movement of oxygenated blood from the heart towards the body parts and deoxygenated blood back to the heart. Double circulation helps in quick and efficient supply of oxygenated blood to all parts of the body. There is one more system that comprises circulatory system, that is lymphatic system. Lymphatic system transport materials through a circulating fluid called lymph. Lymph is a straw-colored or light yellow-colored fluid connective tissue. It is formed of two parts, plasma and lymphocytes. Lymph play a major role in our body. Their functions are: lymph helps in maintaining the volume of the blood. It protects the body by killing the germs with the help of lymphocytes. That is, they helps to develop the immunity of the body. It acts as connecting link between the blood and the body cells and helps in exchange of materials. With this, we conclude the transportation process in animals. That's all for today's video. I hope you liked the video. Please send your feedback in the comment section below and don't forget to like the video. Share this video with your friends. Till then, goodbye.